Alright, so something I wanted to talk about is rotor size. Um, you can get a bike and you ride it and feel like the brakes just aren't there. And so what a lot of people do is they opt to replace the entire brake system. These are Avid Elixir 3s. Um, I really like the Shimano's. The Shimano brakes are um, a lot better. I've ridden them. They are so responsive and so effective. Um, and what happened when I got this bike is I took it on an extreme ride, actually in Downeyville. It was my one and only time riding Downeyville. And Downeyville is an awesome trail. I think it's fantastic. I can't ride it. I have too many nerve issues, and it really it defeats the purpose of why I ride. I ride to feel better, and so Downeyville is just too extreme for me. Um, and this bike handled Downeyville wonderfully. I only wrecked twice. Once over the bars, once my tire washed out. And I talked about that. That was because I had too much pressure in the front tire. But anyway, the point of this was brakes. My brakes, I had, okay, you can see I've got a pretty big rotor up here. Um, Initially, when I first got the bike, I had this rotor up front, which is 180 millimeter, and then I had 160 millimeter back here. Okay, so after that trip to Downeyville, where my hands were just killing me from just trying to slow down, um, I wanted to get better brakes, but I couldn't quite afford to get the Shimano's. So what I did was I got a 203 millimeter rotor, which is, as I understand it, the largest rotor you can get. I think there's 205 and whatnot, but as far as Avid goes, these are 203 millimeters. They're the largest, they're like a dinner plate. And it took a mildly performing set of brakes and turned them into a really good performing set of brakes. And so if you're having brake issues, you may just try going up the size in the rotor. Rotors are less expensive. If you do opt to go to a bigger or a different brake setup, I'd really look at the Shimano's. Like I said, they're extremely good performing brakes. I like the way they actuate and everything. You barely have to think about them, and that's a sign of a good bike part. But anyway, look into your brake rotor size. If your brakes just aren't great and you'd like a little more oomph, a little more stopping power, essentially what the larger rotor does is it puts more leverage on the brake. I mean, if you could put the brakes way out here, the stopping power would be phenomenal. However, it'd be, you'd have a lot of other problems like weight and you look really weird. But so a bigger rotor really does do quite a bit for you. And also, if you're having braking problems, make sure your rotor's clean and also make sure it's not cracked. There are some people that get a cracked rotor or overheated, if it's glazed, different colors, things like that. Brakes are super important, especially for a guy like me. I mean, my riding weights tend to be in the 260, 270 range, so I need the big brakes. If you got brakes that are working just great, you don't need to worry about it. But if you need a bigger braking power, a larger rotor will help. And after that, probably a set of XTs or Shimano's. But even then, if you've got the money and you've got a set of brakes that aren't Shimano's, I'd probably go with Shimano because they're that good. But anyway, and even if you are smaller, I don't think having bigger brakes ever really hurt anybody anyway. So it just gives you more control over the braking power. Anyway, that's my video on brakes and rotor size.